Yeah, the one thing that makes your boat go faster, and I got a 921 250, the new one that has that new Torque Master. What do they call it? New. It has that fins on the lower unit, which is the motor's detuned 7 or 8 horsepower, but it's faster than my last year's boat. So it's actually just the lower unit made it quicker, even with less horsepower. And the biggest thing that you can do is distribution of weight in your boat is like huge. I do have lithium batteries, 4 lithiums. The biggest ones you can get, 120 amp hour batteries. I can get about 20 miles of my trolling motor out of them, so they're really good. If you guys could carry those, somebody would want them, but they're awesome. I don't want to talk too much about them. They don't sponsor me either, but I just use them. But the whole shot's huge with that. But see, I don't have a whole shot issue, and I don't have much of a weight issue. I carry a lot of tackle. Usually I have 200 pounds of tackle on my boat, and it's extremely organized, so I don't have 100 of a worm. The most baits I have is probably 25 of one bait, and if I'm catching them really good on a bait, I'll bring extra of that bait. But I keep most everything in boxes, and I have a few bags that have separate compartments, so I keep stuff in bags, like stuff that has to stay in bags, cellophane. Keep them from the smell from going out or whatever. But I keep just enough baits for if I'm smoking them on a bait, like say a brush hog or a speed crawl or something, I'm really whacking them on it. I usually have enough. I can go 2 days without having I'll have other colors to that bait, so I'm catching them on one color. I'm not really a firm believer if they're eating a watermelon red, I can't catch them on a watermelon candy. I'm not that much freaky about color. There's usually other colors that'll work just as good. But I do that because I carry so many different baits, and I know a lot of guys I've seen carry, a lot of guys, I won't use his name again, but he has 100 bags of baits, 100 bags. I mean, I'll go pick him up and it's like 5, 6, 7, 8 pounds of worms, just one color. Like a year's supply, and he has like 8 colors, and it takes up a space this big in this boat, and all that. If you want to pick all that up, it'd be hard. And so basically, like I think it's about 1 to 4 or 1 to 5. If you have 1 pound in the stern, it's like having 5 pounds in the bow, or 1 pound and 5 pounds in the bow is having it's like transition is like 1 pound in the stern. So that's basically like a pendulum effect. Your boat is flying in the air, and any weight you put past the console is so much more than if you store it behind you. So that's how guys have always thought I've had really fast boats, and I've done stuff to them. Which I did had reeds one time. I got disqualified. You guys remember that? You guys hear that? That wasn't my idea either. Some guy put fiberglass reeds in my boat, and I got in trouble for that. Dana probably remembers that. In the open, I got disqualified. But I've never done anything like that on purpose. My boats have all been stock my whole life, but they're usually faster. Especially the guys that have the same boats as mine are always faster. But I think it's because I'm really careful about putting everything in the back that's heavy behind me, like plastics, or anchor, if I have to carry anchor in the very back. My weight box is kind of centered. The Phoenix make it really nice because I had that center big compartment. And I don't even know if I have a picture of that. The way I have my Phoenix laid out, it's awesome. I mean, I got like these Snapper containers with all my terminal tackle, and that's at the back of the front big compartment. And then usually all the boxes in that front compartment are all my crankbaits, top waters. Buzz baits are pretty light, spinner baits are pretty light. I don't carry a whole lot. I carry enough of those to where I have all the ones I want, which if I put all that stuff together, it's in the front past the console, I can lift it with one arm. It's not that much weight, but the stuff in the back, it would take me, 2 hands, and I'd be struggling to lift it. It's a lot of all my plastics, all my Senko type baits, everything that's plastic and heavy is behind me. And it might hurt your whole shot a little bit, not too much, but you'll notice you'll get a lot more speed, top end out of your boat. The boat performs better. You get better fuel economy. Anytime you get better speed, you're gonna get better fuel economy. But just remember, when you're kind of rigging your boat up or setting your tackle up, try to keep everything heavy in the back. Basically, my boat's rigged up. I found on the Phoenixes, the Tempest do run the best, and I've had 921 is my second 921. I think I've had 2 721s. I think the original one, and both the boats ran best with a Tempest, and most of them when running your boat, you kind of want to push, the more RPMs the better, and they do have a cutoff on them, so you can't really run them too much. You'll start hitting the rev limiter, you bump it, it'll start surging a little bit, so I had my 921. I had 78 mile an hour, 2 guys, and a full tank of gas, no current, in Florida, so almost sea level. But that boat, you know, that's Gary Klaus. That's the fastest one he's ever heard of. It was running over 80 by myself. It would run 80, but I was hitting the rev limiter, so I never got a chance to put a 26 on there. I had 25 and a half pitch, Tempest. But the thing about, if you guys have a good prop guy up here, props make a huge difference. You know, I mean, if you're looking for the extra mile or two, and also it feels like the boat just runs. Compared to a prop that doesn't run, and a prop that runs good, it makes the boat just everything better about it. The way it gets up on pad, the way it performs on turns. You'll get a crisper performance out of it. But having your prop blueprinted, it will help always. And I have every prop I run on my boat. Usually I have a prop guy blueprint it, make sure it's perfect. And they always find something out of whack on them. So, and I imagine over the years, if you use a boat for years, it's going to help your longevity of your lower unit. I mean, all that stuff is balanced. So if you have one blade that's like off a half pitch, and that's going to cause vibrations in your lower unit and could cause your lower unit to break someday. So, you know, it's a good idea to have it blueprinted. And another thing I do all the time is the quick clean stuff. And there's other products out there. You don't have to use mercury stuff, but it really does help to put additives in your fuel because the alcohol, the Bass Quest, yeah, the alcohol really is bad for these 2-cycle motors, even the 4 cycles. So using like a quick clean in it is what I use. It keeps your cylinders really clean, keeps the boat running crisper. And I only keep a boat a year, so I still use all that stuff in them and take care of them. And usually by the end of the year, I got 200 to 300 hours on a motor, and it purrs. I mean, you can tell somebody that just puts cheap gas in it and has the same amount of hours on it and doesn't use any cleaner in it. You can tell like pretty quick if usually it'll either have a little bit of sputter to it, or it'll be like the prop will be black too on top of it. I know that the inside of the motor is the same way. Like guys that looked at my motor at Mercury told me my motor, they're always, when they have looked at it for some reason, I had an issue with one of them. They said your motor looks brand new, and they always tell me that. But I always run that quick clean in it, and it keeps the cylinders like polished, looking shiny, instead of getting that buildup on them. So all that stuff does work, because I do put a lot of hours on them quick. That's all I really do. Have you seen that article I did on the waterproofing? Because it works on it. It works on other boats too. The way the lids are and stuff. And I use there's a picture somewhere on the internet. Or I waterproof my fittings to the point where if I stuff a wave or I'm in big water and I have water coming out of the front, I have really minimal water get my boxes, like none really. By using like some 1/2-inch foam workout pad, high density foam, doesn't retain any moisture, that repels it. And then I put weather stripping around my compartments. And the way the fence is laid out, it works perfect. But yeah, I just did that for the installation I did first, just to keep the lids cool. Because I mean, a lot of the lids aren't. I mean, a lot of boats aren't cooled. So that, you know, when I go to the U.S. Open, it's 117, 125, and I got my hard baits in there. I'm gonna take a risk. They're gonna explode and pop up. So I did that originally for that, but then I found this weather strip and I put it in there, and it actually bumped against the stuff I put on top just perfectly. Where actually, like after a day, it just left a little bit of a groove where it was sitting, and the stuff compresses. So then I found out I could stuff a wave, and if I didn't open the compartment up where water dripped off the top of the lid, by the end of the day I could look in there and it's like completely dry. And I just stuffed the wave. It had this much water in the deck of my boat, and it just ran off and drained off like it should. And then I opened it up at the end of the day, and there was no water in my boat at all. Dry as can be.